conservative businessman and retired colonel running for United States Senate from Florida. You know, this is still the greatest nation on the planet, and America is the world's last true global military power and protector of freedom and democracy around the world. And without question, we still have the very finest young soldiers, airmen, seamen, and Marines of any country on the planet, and we must make sure Washington gives them everything they need to fight and win and survive in battle. Americans never need to go anywhere and feel second rate or hang their head. With our most precious blood, this country has saved the world as we know it today more than once. And we are tired of a president standing on foreign soil, bowing to Muslim kings and apologizing to the world for who and what we are, and it's going to stop in 2012. My vision for America is the same as many of yours. I want us to be strong, prosperous, safe, proud, sovereign, and respected for who and what we are. And by golly, we've earned it. We're going to have a strong economic future by getting government out of the way and America back open for business. To create jobs, we're going to have to recognize that all that's going to grow our economy is more people buying American-made products and services. We have got to get American companies back to work and provide incentives to American companies to hire other American companies in their supply chain or their manufacturing or distribution. When we get American companies working and increase the demand for their products and services is when they'll hire more Americans. And we're going to have to strategically align our healthcare system and get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. And we need tort reform, so that doctors and hospitals don't have to require unnecessary duplicated tests just to get paid. We're going to have to upgrade education throughout the system, and we're going to have a more business-friendly environment all through America with lower taxes for everyone, fewer lawsuits, and less regulation. Now, my friends, our country is under serious attack everywhere we look, inside and out. Internally, uncontrolled spending by the federal government, union management not accepting the realities of global competition that people will not pay more for a product or service just because it's made by a union worker. Liberal judges making up the rules as they go, giving our country away. This failing education system not keeping up with global competition. A federal government ignoring the rights of our states and our citizens. Restrictive laws handcuffing the American productivity and spirit. Communism still working to destroy our family cohesiveness. Illegal immigration and insecure border, and it's not just ag workers coming through. You got money laundering, drug trafficking, and terrorism. Radical Islamic expansion in our schools and our courts and our textbooks. And the growing black market that's been created for phony credit cards, phony IDs, and even phony voter registration. And of course the liberals that don't accept any of this, or they think it's okay, they won't want to face it. Externally, we're under attack every day from the other 95% of the world. Unfair trade practices by competitive nations, such as phony currency devaluations or the breaching of our patents and our research. Unfair labor practices give them huge competitive advantage in pricing in a global economy. The global proliferation of weapons of mass destruction and renegade technology to countries such as Iran and China and Korea, and the global war on terror and his radical Islamic expansion around the world with Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Vladimir Putin still hanging around in the former Soviet Union with his vision to return them to their days of power and grandeur. Global black markets on drugs, money laundering, and black market oil. Cyber espionage of our secrets trying to break in your bank or our country or our military. Pirates operating on the open seas. And of course the UN initiative of Agenda 21 and the one world government going to try to tell us where to live and take away our guns. So how are we going to defend ourselves? Well, Ronald Reagan had it right. You threaten our country and our well-being, we win, you lose. We need less regulation and fewer laws that restrict our jobs and our freedom. We need a comprehensive and integrated national security policy that restores American pride, prestige, and respect around the world, where our allies stand with us at all times and our enemies fear us. And it brings to bear all elements and resources, national power, into a unified effort. First, it has an immigration policy that allows the states to protect themselves, to check to see if you're supposed to be here, and if not, we're sending you home at your country's expense. And no amnesty. My friends, this is not a garage sale on being an American citizen. An energy policy We've got to decrease our dependency on foreign oil. It's bankrupting our nation. We need to increase our domestic oil production and refinery capacity. We need more nuclear energy, natural gas, and clean coal. And we need to require the Department of Energy and the EPA to facilitate this process instead of constantly blocking it. Third, we need an economic policy. We need to spend less as a government, and we need to make more money as a nation. We have got to address both sides of the balance sheet, just like in business. Not just the cost, but what are we making? We've got to cut our spending and pass a balanced budget amendment. We need to save Medicare and Social Security, restore free markets and regain our competitive edge against foreign competition, and promote entrepreneurship and new business startup, because that's where the jobs will come from. We need treaties and trade agreements that protect our jobs and our patents and our technology and levels this playing field against foreign competition. Fourth, we need a foreign policy that returns American prestige and pride around the world. Our U.S. embassies and ambassador teams need to be formidable. That's our front line of defense. And we need no treaties or trade agreements with countries that are breaching our patents or harboring terrorists, and no foreign aid to countries that don't stand side by side with us at all times. We need a domestic policy here at home to protect America's homeland and restores the Constitution as the law of the land. It is the law of the land. We need to limit the rights of unions in bargaining and government. And when we do infrastructure development, it needs to be American materials, American equipment, and American workers. We've got to protect our proprietary technology, such as NASA. I don't want that falling in the hands of a foreign country. And we need our employers to make sure that their workers are here legally and in the system. And no Sharia law, courts, or banks in our country. And we should try terrorist and military tribunals and not the comforts of civilian courts. And finally, we need a military policy where we maintain the absolute best military in the world, protect our citizens and our nation and our interests. And we must fulfill all commitments to our veterans and their families. So, okay, where do we go from here? Well, number one, we got to continue this fight to take our country back and end these liberal giveaways. Those of us that wore the uniform took that oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We need our judges and our Congress and our President to respect and defend the Constitution, and we've got to replace the ones that's not doing what's right for America and future generations. We've got to take control of the U.S. Senate in 2012 with a real conservative who has serious credentials to face these global threats that are attacking our nation every day. Now, I get asked about the Second and the 10th Amendment, and I have a little saying. We need a sign at every airport, harbor, and road entering our state. You are entering a 10th Amendment owned and operated state, and justice will be served with the Second Amendment. We need to get the legal handcuffs off and let American ingenuity and competitive spirit get back to work, and trash the Obama economics that's increased our debt and our unemployment, and throw the illegal Obama health care and high-speed rail in the trash forever. We need to restore the family as the pillar of American society and stop Agenda 21 and the one world government. We don't need any other countries telling us how to run this place. They've never done it as well as we have, and they need to worry about themselves. We need to stop government collecting union dues and paychecks. We need to stop giving our money away to unfriendly nations and use it to save Medicare and Social Security. And maybe we should fire Janet Napolitano and get someone running Homeland Security that understands what that job's about. We need a full audit of the Federal Reserve. I want to know where our money's going, and they need accountability and transparency to the GAO. And maybe we should replace the IRS with a better system such as a fair tax. So where do we go from here? Continue this fight to take our country back and end these giveaways, my friend. I think about we've got to stop this dumbing down of America and get back to the values that made this country great. We got to promote free markets and stop the National Labor Relations Board from trying to tell our companies where to have our jobs. And we got to stop this political correctness and coddling of radical Islamic extremists. They want to kill us. We've got to fully support Israel as the only ally we have in democracy in the Middle East. And we should never issue a building permit for a mosque on sacred soil stained with the blood of innocent American citizens from a terrorist attack. And finally, we got to secure our border and no more lip service. We need to send a clear message to the world that we have bought and paid for this place with our dearest blood. If you want to be in this country, it's a privilege and not a right. If you're going to live live here, you need to be a contributor, not a taker. You want to work here, you need to be in the system. You want to be a citizen, we have a process, and you need to respect it and follow it. And for me, I'd really like to see you learn to speak English. My friend, this election next year is serious business. The Democrats and the liberals are going to be out in force, and we will have to put our most formidable and qualified players on the field at every level. It's about our children, our grandchildren, and our country. I'd like to quote Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. My friends, this is still the land of the free and the home of the brave and one nation under God. We must keep our great country strong, prosperous, safe, and stop those that want to give it away or take it away, and failure is simply not an option. My job is to retire Bill Nelson next year and send Barack Obama packing in 2012. And I do believe that Floridians are going to send another colonel to Washington to give our country reinforcements. My friends, I want to thank you for letting me be here today. What a great crowd. Keep up the good work, and may God bless you, and may God bless America.